It's a common question for buyers, investors. How much information should I really have before I make an offer? Today, I'm going to explain it to you, and it really goes both ways because there's a lot of different things involved in terms of how much you should expect to have as a buyer investor, and how much you're really entitled to, and how much you should even request, which is going to be very little. My name is Jonathan Green. I run a big team called Streamline Properties on Market, brokered by eXp Realty. We're in 5 states. I've also been investing for 30 years off market, so I understand the science of making offers. I also understand the science of negotiation from 10 years as a trial attorney. So I'm going to give you some tips. You may not like them all, but I'm only here to help you present yourself in the best way as a home buyer or buying investor. So one of the things that a lot of investors or buyers ask about is, can I get the answers to these questions before? Well, the answer is there's actually a lot of places where we can get information that you may not see on Zillow or on our website. So we have the traditional description, which gives you all the information about the home. And then on the back end, all real estate agents have a little portal on the MLS that has agent notes. And inside the agent notes are kind of tidbits, agents to agent, things that you wouldn't necessarily want to put in the listing. They could be bad things, they could be good things when the seller wants to close, when offers are due. So we have access to that, and that's something that we can send you right away. We also have access in most states to what's called a seller's disclosure, and a seller fills this out and affirms that it's all correct. And it basically goes over the history of the home, how old the roof is, if they know, how old the boiler is, last time it was serviced. Again, all of these things if they know. And there's no full requirement that they tell the truth, even though they're affirming it's all correct. So it's just a hedging mechanism to give you more information about the house. It's supposed to tell you if there were any floods or if there are any issues. So when you combine the agent notes and what you get in the seller's disclosure, that's really about all the information that you're going to get prior to making an offer. Of course, as agents, we can always ask a couple questions of the other agent. But remember, in a seller's market, we don't want to do anything to perceive you as the buyer as picky or asking too much, because then they're going to start thinking that when it comes to inspection, the same thing is going to happen, which may be the case, but we don't want to do that in an offer, because say a seller has 3 offers, 2 are just numbers, one's higher than the other, same financing. Then there's a third offer that's just a tiny bit higher, but somebody sent in and asked a bunch of questions that were outside the seller's disclosure and wanted to know things that they're going to find out later. If I'm the seller in that case, I'm probably going to pass on that one just because I feel like it's not going to be as easy a transaction. That may or may not be true, but a lot of it is built inside perception and negotiation. So for us as real estate agents, we're just trying to present you in the best light. Of course, when it gets to inspections, you're going to find things, but there's a lot of things that you're not going to be able to find out prior to inspections, just because sometimes the sellers don't even know all the things that are either wrong or going on with the home. It doesn't mean they're lying. They may not check these things, or they may not even have any idea when their boiler was put in or how old the roof was in, because they bought the house 5 years ago and they didn't change the roof. So you can't hold sellers to a standard that's impossible. And on the buyer's end, you may want to know things about the renovation or when they did this, but asking too early may cause a problem. It's always in the agent's best agent to do the job in your best interest to figure out how good their relationship is with the listing agent. So if I have a really good relationship, I can usually get a little bit more information. And if I don't know the agent, you're really trying to figure out how much information you can get. And again, remember, our job as your agent in the transaction is to protect you. So even if you want us to do something and we think it's a bad idea and may actually make it harder for you to get the offer accepted that you want, we're going to go over those parameters and say, I think this might cause a problem. And in some cases, we're not going to be able to do it, and we'll have to just terminate the relationship then, because there's certain things that we know based on practice will come back and not help you in terms of making an offer. And there are some things that you can ask that are totally reasonable. There's also some things that you can ask that are unreasonable to ask early on, especially in a seller's market. Remember, if they're getting 10, 13 offers anyone who's asking too much or putting pressure on them to respond is not going to be someone that they're interested in doing business with. And that's just a principle of negotiating. It's same if you have an Airbnb. If you are the landlord of an Airbnb property and you have two renters who want to rent at the same time, and one just books and says, I'll be there, and one is asking to book but wants to know 100 other things that you kind of have in the listing or that are a little bit irrelevant for before they get there so they can decide if they want it, you're going to go with the easier one. So you have to look at it from a seller's mindset. Do they want someone who's really not into it and just loves it and is sending the offer? They want someone questioning all the things up front. So that's it. How to know how much information you should have when making an offer. I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you again soon with more tips for your home buying, selling, or investing business. We're here to help you in all ways. Streamline Properties. You can find us on the web, streamlined.properties.